So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the.
All right, let's try this again. I don't know why Streamlabs keeps on barfing on me like that. Third live stream in a row. I did do a full reboot today before this live stream, so that is not the problem. But usually the past couple days when we restart it, the second time has been a charm, so crossing fingers here. Ariana, good evening. Christ is King, good evening. Crypto Maniac, what's up? Matt, what's going on? Barry Electronics, 8 Fathers, Man Child, Broke 8, Buckaroo, Bonsai. All right, guys, let's try again. Pour your drinks, get your smokes, and let's hope that the internet gods are ever in our favor and that we can get these screens to come up without killing the stream. Bitcoin trading at right now 40,780 bucks. Gold, I just checked it. It was over, I think it was over 2,100 or right at 2,100. We'll pull that up in a second. We're going to talk about Evergrande, China, the Monday morning updates. Did they kill my stream for saying China? No, not this time. All right. And whatever other weekend gossip you guys want to talk about. And we'll just hang out here for a little bit, kill some time on a Sunday evening. And it should be an interesting day and week next week. So based on what we're seeing in Sunday night action. So we don't want to be up too late. We want to be up early in the pre-market. Who watched some football this weekend? My Longhorns lost. Damn it. Fat Lips Jr., what's up? The loser of your fantasy league has to get a GameStop tattoo. I like it. I like it. I noticed a lot of Ryan Cohen profile photos on Twitter over the weekend. A lot of people getting excited about GameStop earnings coming up on the 6th. I will be live streaming that here after market hours. I don't think that GameStop has a call scheduled, but if they do, we'll cover that. And if they just drop the results, then we'll go through that also. Let's look at the GameStop price action since we're on GameStop, and then we'll work our way into these other topics. GameStop had a wild week last week. Let's go to the hourly. Starting on the 28th, running up from 1188 to 1756, pulling back by the end of the week to 1530. Where it goes next week, I don't know. We are used to seeing a little bit of pre-earnings excitement, so that was not surprising to me to have this little run up. And then, you know, I think wherever it goes next week is going to depend on what announcement they make on Wednesday. There obviously is some pre-earnings excitement built in, so we will have to see. Did they eke out a profit? Did they cut costs enough? Do they give any guidance about what is up next? That will tell us what the next leg up is on GameStop. And let me pull up the Vortex on GameStop. I'll put it on the screen here for you. I think it was slightly over 20%. $22.8. I like that. Berry Electronics. Okay, we'll talk about AMC in a second. We'll talk about the box office and my thoughts on AMC. Let's see if anybody has GameStop questions. So, short interest, 22.8. What do I expect from earnings? They were close to profitable last quarter. Maybe they can do it this quarter. Ryan Cohen and team have been cutting a lot of costs at the expense of employees' health and welfare and benefits. So we'll have to see if they cut enough to show a profit this quarter, and then we go from there. And really, what I want to see from GameStop, besides getting costs under control and sizing the business right, is what is the next step for GameStop? That's really what we want to see, right? Or what we want to hear, because they can get profitable and eke out a little profit, but I think investors really want to know what is next. What are they going to do with all that cash on the balance sheet? So hopeful, but not making any strong predictions on GameStop. Michael Anthony, what's going on? Laura says a lot of the long-term GameStop holders aren't even bullish. Speaking about the YouTubers and influencers that are selling call options, and it's going to be funny if they get blasted for doing so. So they're selling call options based on their holdings at some strike price higher than where it's at, I guess is what you're saying, so that they can generate a little bit of extra income. I actually think that is a wise strategy. Now, I did say over the last couple of years for AMC, I was not going to do that, sell call options, and I never did. But I have switched my strategy for both GameStop and AMC into selling options, doing whatever we can to generate income if you're planning on being a long-term holder. The downside, as Laura is saying, is if it blasts through that strike price that you sold your call options to make a little bit of extra money on, you could have your shares pulled away from you. So that is the downside risk. I lived with that risk, not doing it for 2 years on my AMC shares, foregoing all that income I could have been making under the fear that my shares would get pulled away, and that never would have came true. Or if it would have, if they would have got taken away, like say on a run up to 30, I could have waited a couple weeks or a couple months and bought them back. So for far cheaper. So I'm not going to live under that fear on these meme stocks. If I have shares, I will be selling call options on them, just like I would any other play. So let me go back to the GameStop screen, not the GameStop, the crypto screen, and then we'll move over to AMC. Bitcoin on the weekly. So just a recap, a year ago we were at 15,000. You could have more than doubled your money if you had been holding Bitcoin. All my crypto that I have left, which is mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I think I still have some Phantom, is all parked on cold storage. So I don't even remember how much I have. I've just been letting it sit in cold storage. I should probably check in on that tonight or in the morning and see how I'm doing. There are people saying that possibly experts in crypto, saying that maybe we'll get a leg up to 100,000 in the near future here. We will have to see. But it is looking bullish. I've seen other bears saying, get ready for incoming rug pull. What do you guys think? Are you buying into this? Are you holding into this? Do you have price targets on Bitcoin? The other interesting thing that I've seen people talking about on social media and Twitter, X, is hearkening back to the previous bull runs of Bitcoin in 2021 and what happened with meme stocks. Very interested to see what happens this time around with that, if there is any correlation. So exciting times, but I try and remain as emotionless as possible in these. And with that being said, let's pivot into Mr. Barry Electronics' question about AMC, and we'll pull up the box office and then talk about that. Let me move this down onto the lower screen here. So we got some estimated numbers for this weekend, December 1st through 3rd. Overall gross, $94 million. That is a little better than I was expecting to see, and that is good. Let's see if they have any breakdown on how that came in. 21 million estimated for Beyonce. I know she had 5 million on Thursday, which is not counted in here. 11 million on Friday. And I guess the remainder of the 21 million, the other 10 million must have been Saturday and Sunday. I wonder if I can look at daily here. Yeah. So Beyonce, I don't see her numbers for the 3rd. Oh wait, that's the 2nd. I don't see numbers for her on when we break down the daily, so maybe that'll change. Hunger Games coming in at 14 million and a half. Godzilla at 11 million. Trolls, Wish, and Napoleon all lagging around 7 million each. That is unfortunate. I looked at maybe going to see The Shift this weekend. I wasn't exactly impressed by the preview that they have out there. So I don't know. If it gets boring this week, maybe I'll go see another movie. And Scarlett and I will be going to see The Hunger Games one day this week. And we have not seen the Beyonce film yet, but we have been talking about it, trying to figure out how to schedule it. Since it's shown on the weekends and she's working weekends now, it becomes problematic. But if we go now, I'm trying to go back to what I was thinking about AMC or the movie industry for the quarter for Q4. We're at let's call it 1.2 billion. And AMC, to eke out a profit, needs somewhere around 2.5, 2.6 billion domestic box office. So we are a long way away from that. Let me pull up my spreadsheet and we'll go over that just at a high level again. So I have penciled in for Q4 here, estimated box office 1.8 billion domestic, 1.8 billion, and we're at 1.2. So we have 4 weeks. If we figure 100 million per week, 120, 150, we could get to 1.8 billion. And by the spreadsheet, that would give us a loss on the income statement of about 240 million bucks. So not really super bullish on the numbers for AMC for Q4 based on where we're at with box office. If we if I pull up the numbers for something like a Cinemark on 1.8 billion, if we were able to get 1.8, they have a shot of getting a profitable quarter on 1.8 billion domestic because they have a smaller size, less fixed cost. AMC's got to be punching above 2.5, 2.6. So that is my thoughts on, are we going to see a massive run up in AMC in December? If I'm just being unemotional about it, just looking at numbers only, I don't see how that happens. Short interest is low on AMC, around 10%. and the box office is probably not going to be anywhere close enough for AMC to turn a profit. And I'll do a formal update on these numbers. Again, it's way too early to be forecasting Q4 numbers because we haven't finished the quarter. I'm just telling you, like if I plug in this for this, it's not looking great. How would anybody forecast a massive run up in December? Well, they'd have to put all the numbers aside, not pay attention to the reported short interest, and just create a story about some other catalyst. And that's fine if people want to do that. That is their channel, their opinion. 10.6% short interest on AMC. William, thank you. Mr. Barry, since you brought up the question about other YouTubers forecasting a dynamite December, can I ask you, if you're still watching, what's the catalyst that they're looking at? The only other thing that I am looking forward to that would be bullish for AMC in December is that Adam Aron or management announces, hopefully by the end of this week, if I extrapolate out all of the daily volume from the time they announced the most recent dilution, I'm expecting that by the end of this coming week, this week that we're starting, that we could get an announcement that the dilution is done. That's taking roughly 40 to 50 million shares that they were going to sell, depending on the price, and estimating that about 10% of the daily volume was AMC selling that dilution. So that would take us through the end of the week that we're about starting, and maybe they'll be done. And then once that announcement is done, then over a period of weeks, typically once any company announces that they are done diluting, over a period of weeks or months, you get a little bit of run up. So that is what I'm thinking about as I'm looking about adding more AMC at these levels, or what am I going to do? I am long on shares right now at $6.11 is my cost basis. I know you're asking, how is that possible? I bought shares below $7 and I sold covered calls on them, which I'm applying on my paper spreadsheet. In my head, I'm reducing my basis by the income I made by selling covered calls. So I'm good, around this price level. There are people that are saying it could go down to 5. If it does, I'd probably still buy some for me, not financial advice. Company's doing okay. They've got to get through a rough Q4. They've got to probably get through a rough Q1. But I think once this second round of dilution is done, hopefully, we get a little bit of pause on any additional cash raise. I think they were getting ahead of the cash burn that I'm expecting to see in Q4 and potentially in Q1 by raising cash right now. And so we'll have to see how the media and Wall Street handles AMC. Like, are they going to be overly bearish about Q4 and Q1, or are they going to be happy that the dilution is done? And which one of those drives the price? That's what we need to see. Ariana says, I saw someone had a printed sign out for Dish on their car. I saw someone that had a sticker on their car, I think. Or maybe it was a sign. It was Dish to the moon. I feel like we're just reliving the same story with every ticker. All of these retail communities. We'll talk about Dish maybe tomorrow. I had it on my list this weekend by special request to do a deep dive on Dish. And I didn't have time to do that this weekend, but I will have time tomorrow morning unless the market is just going nuts. And we looked at it briefly a couple nights ago. There's some interesting things going on with Dish. Let's pull up the short interest on it real quick. $21.8%. So it's kind of like in that neighborhood where GameStop is, where AMC was. Cost to borrow, pretty low, under 1%. And they've had a good push up. Let's go to the weekly. From 320 to 390, but I mean, the chart over the long term, pretty bearish, 47 down to $3.90. As I recall, let's just look at their revenue here real quick. Falling top line revenue. And they had negative net income in the last quarter, and the total net income has been coming down. So, I mean, you get in the situation where people get excited about a cheap price and a high short interest, which I get it, but Wall Street is looking at the numbers, I think, the falling revenue, the falling net income, and saying, we're going to short this bitch. So then you get into that age-old battle of retail versus Wall Street. Who is going to have, and what is going to be the catalyst to turn Dish around, to get it moving up? What's the shares outstanding? 534 million. Feels like AMC. 500 million. It's tough to move 500 million shares. Juicy, what's up? JJ305, is it JJ? Yeah, the market is not helping AMC even with good earnings, so we have to get used to it. I think that is a, if you can just separate emotion, be able to step outside your body, watch the hype channels with your out of body, and then your investor body say, okay, that part of me is excited, but I still have to realize that Q4 is probably not going to be very good for the movie industry. So let me just level set my expectations to the most likely outcome is we're going to lose money in Q4. Now, this is how I look at it. And if something pops off and happens, well, then this other you can get excited, but the you that's sitting in front of the computer every day, I want you to temper your emotions, temper your expectations so that you don't get disappointed and angry. You got to focus on the numbers to have an idea what the most likely outcome is. All right, Michael says he owns 8,000 shares of Dish, which ATS is merging with unless DirecTV buys Dish. All right, so I got a little bit of DD to catch up on then, Michael, because I'm not all caught up on the news with Dish. And I'll try and do that overnight tonight or early hours tomorrow, unless, like I said, things are just crazy trading in the morning. Have I ever watched Pi-Fi, Laura? I have, but not any time recently that I can remember. Probably hasn't been since 2021. Laura says he is a GameStop holder that works for the hedge funds. He has hundreds of people watching with less people commenting. Huh. Yeah, I've heard of him. Don't remember much about him. It's been literally 2 years. I'll go check it out tonight. Barry says, my local phone company stopped providing TV service and they're pushing Dish. We have Dish available in our area, Mr. Barry. I have had them at some point, but we recently cut the cord, so I have no cable at the moment. Joshua says, Tony is getting fat. The beard does make me look a little chubbier, but I have been neglecting the gym, I'm not going to lie. And if you've been following me on social media, you know I've been eating some popcorn at them movies. So what should we do about that? Should I go back on the strict keto right now and then just suffer all the way through the holidays? No eggnog, no pie, no Christmas turkey, ham, and stuffing? Or should I just say, fuck it, Tony, you're getting fat. Start eating right. No more popcorn. I got a lot of movies still that I need to see in the next 4 weeks. I don't know if I could do that. I mean, there's only one theater in my area, one AMC, that serves salads. But at some point, I've already been talking to the wife. I was like, we got to get like spring vacation beach body ready at some point. I need at least 6 weeks. So I could start now, or I could just say, fuck it, and wait till right after Christmas. Kind of my barometer is if my pants stop fitting, I'm not going to go buy new clothes. So once when I reach the point where the pants don't fit, it's time to stop eating. All right. I see a lot of people bullish on Dish. I will definitely, I'm going to look into it tomorrow and see what is the best bullish case I can come up with. Right now, as far as bullish case, short interest is high. If there's some news that I find that you guys are excited about that says this thing could leg up, when you got over 20% short interest and a cheap price, you definitely have an interesting play. And I can see from the momentum on the chart that there are people buying it. So good luck to all of you, and we'll talk about that. I'd love to buy some if I can convince myself that it's relatively safe. $4, that's a steal. If it's safe. Headstock Harem says, wait till the new year. My wife is not helping me, Headstock Harem. She came home the other day. Hey, I got some eggnog. You know, that high fructose corn syrup eggnog. Oh, and here's some cheese danishes, fresh from the HEB bakery. I think she's trying to get me fat. Trying to find my lighter. I'm not having any luck. Here we are. Second drawer. Barry says he cut the cord as well. Barry, honestly, the only channel I really watch ever when we had cable, and I was paying over $100 a month for it, was CNBC. And that was just to have something on during the day. I mean, it wasn't like I was glued to the TV. It was just background noise. If we're watching something at night, we're not big TV watchers. If we're watching something at night, she's looking for a movie or a new series on Netflix or Paramount Plus, or what else do we have? Amazon Prime. So we've been able to survive off of that just fine. And I can check CNBC on the internet if I really need to. Speaking of CNBC, let's pull up the gold chart. Let me pull it down here. I know a lot of y'all have been excited about gold recently. Holy smokes, man. Could have bought it for $1,800 back in October. So I'll just recap again what I've been saying for 2 years about gold. That I would like to buy it on a pullback prior to these massive run-up levels. And that might be naive. I mean, we may never get a run back down to 1,200 or 1,500. But I think that, you know, around the time that the economy gets back under control, who knows when that will be, right? 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027. There'll be some point where I can buy it cheap again and then just comfortably wait it out. I haven't been too excited about trying to buy gold into the excitement of a run-up with my deeply held belief that it's eventually going to come back down. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if I wanted to watch it really close and just swing trade it, that's a viable strategy. And if shit hits the fan, we know that there are other countries buying gold. Yes. If shit hits the fan, it could end up being a fantastic investment. So I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm just telling you how I'm kind of viewing it. I have owned both gold and silver before. I don't have any right now. Have I seen Napoleon Gus? I did. I think movies like Napoleon and Godzilla are for people that are movie buffs, right? I wouldn't equate Napoleon to something like The Patriot or Gladiator or any... Name your movie that's got an epic battle scene. Epic battle scenes. It had battle scenes. It had a few short ones in the beginning. Some fantastic examples of Napoleon's strategic thinking and culminating in an excellent battle scene at the end. But there was a lot of focus on Napoleon the man and his relationship with Josephine and how he kind of came up into popularity with the French people, and then the struggles he had with the other folks in charge in France. So he had a lot going on in his life, and over 60 battles that he commanded. So I guess it was hard to get everything in there and kind of like convey the sense of the man. For me, it kind of like created, like I said in my movie review that I posted, more of a curiosity maybe when I have free time to go learn some more about Napoleon, because I'm certainly not a Napoleon expert. But as far as the film and everything about it, for me being a movie buff, I enjoyed it. If you were just going there expecting nothing but hardcore battles, you're probably going to be a little bit upset about how much time they spend focusing on his relationship with his wife, Josephine. Michael says, can you look at this gold miner, which has gold and other metals with a small dividend, SBSW? Sure. And then we'll pull up some Evergrande news. SBSW. Is this right? Sibanye, is that how you say it? Multinational Mining and Metals Processing Group. Huh. It is a platinum group metals automotive catalytic recycler and also has interests in mine tailings retreatment operations. So they're not, it looks like, I'm just reading, I don't know anything about it, I'm just reading this. Oh, okay. Before I speak, let me finish reading the paragraph. They have 2 advanced gold projects underway in South Africa, Burnstone and the Southern Free State Project. And it has a lithium project. Well, I mean, they've got their hands in a lot of things. How's the finances look? No data. Hang on. No quarterly data. Oh, that's interesting. All right. Top line revenue, nice. Steady upward growth. Net income. They have been profitable for the last 3 years with looks like about almost a 50% drop in 2022. Shares outstanding, they have been doing some pretty heavy dilution, although it looks like they did a little bit of buybacks between 2022 and 2021. And the earnings per share, that's fairly healthy. Why is the stock getting beaten down? Oh, this is not in dollars, by the way. Current assets, current liabilities, looks okay. And they have positive operating cash flow. So yeah, I mean, I don't know much about this company. I'd need to go dig in a little bit more and figure out why the heck they've been getting beaten up so much. And why, I've never seen one that didn't have quarterly. Maybe, I guess they're probably a foreign filer. Just guessing. Flank attack the king, for Napoleon Maestrozilla. Pop Squash says, would you ever live stream with the Ape Father? I don't live stream Pop Squash with people that have a history of basing their channel on doxing or personal attacks against other people. Someone wants to come in and talk due diligence. I don't care if they agree with me or disagree. That's all well and good. But Ape Father crossed a line some time ago, and so unfortunately, he would not be on the list of people welcome on the channel. All right, let me pull up some Evergrande news. Hang on one second. Okay. Breaking news. So there was a hearing this morning, Monday morning in China from Evergrande. You guys probably heard about that this weekend, that this was coming up. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And the headline is, they adjourned until January. So basically Evergrande said, hey, Judge, we need 5 more weeks to come up with a plan. And can we please do an adjournment until January? So that is your Sunday night update, your Monday morning China update on Evergrande. You can just park that catalyst or that news for 5 more weeks. Court hearing into the liquidation petition filed against China Evergrande was adjourned in a Hong Kong court to next month, allowing more time to finalize a debt restructuring proposal and a major relief for the embattled developer. The hearing was adjourned to January 29th. 8 weeks. 8-week adjournment. I thought I read earlier 5-week adjournment. So I wish I had some more exciting, juicy catalyst type news for you on Evergrande. But we're going to have to wait till the end of January. Now, my stepping aside into my more calm, emotionless analysis of what is the impact of all of this going to be, feel free to disagree in the comments right now. But anybody who's holding Evergrande bonds has already written them off. I mean, they've lost the majority of their value. They've already been written off on the books. Even if they go bankrupt, at this point, I think people are just like, can we get a couple dollars back? You know, can we get a couple pennies back on the dollar? We've already written it off. We'd like to not write it off to zero. So I'm not expecting any catalyst from Evergrande. I could be completely wrong. That's just how I'm looking at it. But it is going to be interesting to see what happens in the Chinese real estate market as a whole. If that whole market collapses, if other real estate developers continue to fall in China and the country, the government doesn't prop it up, that could have worldwide repercussions. So it's something to keep an eye on still. Juicy says he's an expert at Napoleon Dynamite. I'm trying to remember, Juicy. There were 2 movies. The first time I saw them, I didn't quite get it. And I think Napoleon Dynamite was one of them. It was one of those movies for me where I had to watch it a second time to start appreciating the humor. The other one was I think it was the Austin Powers Gold Member. Now, I like the Austin Powers movies, but some of those, it took me a while to warm up to them. Now I can, you know, anytime if Napoleon Dynamite was playing and I happened to come across it, I would sit there and watch it because it cracks me up. Patriot, what are we talking about on points? Barry says he had Dish at his shop. Do you sell electronics, Barry? Yeah, a Blu-ray on loop is a lot cheaper than paying for Dish to have something playing on the screens, right? Oh, you guys are watching the Packers game. Okay. Other YouTubers are saying that new rules are going to force shorts to cover. What have I heard? I don't watch that many other people, but here's what I know. What shorts will cover when the price goes up. That's when they'll be forced to cover. I don't know what rule. You feel free to drop in the comments some of your knowledge from these other YouTubers. What rule could force a short to cover? Shorting is part of the market dynamics, and they will cover either when it drops, the price drops, and they're ready to take some profits, which happens every day, except some of them hold it a longer term. If they're hedging or if they are expecting bankruptcy, they'll hold it all the way down. But the only thing that forces them to cover is a push of the price up. And then they'll get a call from their prime broker saying, you need to post some more collateral or we're going to close out your position. Matt says, I wish Radio Shack would come back. I kind of liked Radio Shack too, Matt. As an electronics nerd. Now, I never built any fancy circuits all by myself, but not by it like going to Radio Shack and designing something, but I would shop there from time to time. What I love seeing on the Bed Bath & Beyond crowd is they are forecasting that all of these bankrupt companies, Toys R Us, Radio Shack, how many am I missing here? Bed Bath & Beyond, they're all going to come back under one big conglomerate. Sears, somebody's going to resurrect all these dead companies. That's the leading theory of the Teddy crowd, which I'm watching this. I'm not commenting on it because they're not hurting anybody. I don't think there's any reason to attack the Bed Bath & Beyond crowd right now. They're holding worthless stock that got canceled, and if they want to have theories and hopes and dreams, I say let them have their fun. Zero reason to be picking on these people. It's not like they're talking you into buying a stock that you're going to lose money on. At this point, it was done 2 months ago. So I watch it for entertainment. I watch it for just learning more about retail traders' psychology. It's a fascinating psychology experiment. And, secretly, I'd love for them to be right and make a ton of money. I don't see it. I don't see that happening, but who knows? Who knows? And good luck. I always want to see people win. And at this point, the vitriol and the hatred that is happening against those people, I just don't understand it. Like, why are you going to dogpile on someone when they're down? What are they hurting at this point? Barry says he sells reconditioned electronics, TVs, VCRs, vintage stereo equipment, and any other solid built things. Very nice. I was one of those people, Barry, back in the day when we had electronics you could repair. Like if a TV broke, I'd pull the back off and try and figure out what I could replace that was bad on it. That would be the extent of my trips to Radio Shack. Sometimes I was successful, usually not, because I often didn't have circuit diagrams. Plus, I've never been trained in TV technology. But if you see a capacitor blown or a chip blown, that's easy enough. Ronald says, so many people believe in the squeeze, but yet want to play AMC and GameStop like normal stocks because they sell covered calls. I think, Ronald, what you're seeing, just speaking from the people that I speak to every day in my trader group, that just people in my Discord, people in other Discords, is that you have 3 camps right now, in maybe just 2 camps. In GameStop and AMC, you have people that are playing them like regular stocks because it's been 2 years and nothing's happened except the price has gone down, and they're just trying to recoup money whatever way they can. And then you have the other camp, which is going to buy and hold no matter what, because they think there's hundreds of millions or billions of naked shorts and synthetic shares and manipulation. And they don't want to do anything to hurt that by selling options. And I'm just stating the obvious here, right? You guys already know that. I say do whatever you think is best for you at this point. I, for one, am not the type of person to ride something to zero on principle. I bought and held on principle and lost a lot of money holding, you know, the AMC shares I bought in late 2021 between 30 and 40 bucks, rode them all the way down to $8 before I, you know, as we were talking about the court case is going to go in AMC's favor. The reverse split's going to go through. The arbitrage play is going to happen. As I did my own due diligence and shared that with you guys, I had to make some changes to not get wiped out after August. And that's just what I did. But other people have different thoughts. Everybody's going to play it their own way. As always, we're all individual traders. Nobody's giving you instructions. You do what is best for you. And for all of these stocks, I would love to see another run up or another squeeze. Absolutely. But I'm just looking at the reported short interest. You guys who've been following my channel for a long time know that is the only thing that we have ever reported on here. And for short squeeze candidates, I need to see over 20% reported short interest. I've watched many, many other plays squeeze up in price, having no short interest, just on FOMO. So anything's always possible, but those aren't things that I spend my time talking about here, really. Crypto Maniac says, watch BKKT. Oh, man. I had some BKKT back in the day. I ended up dumping it because it was not performing. But with a crypto rally, could backed holdings come back up? Remember back in the day when it was $50? Yeah, it's had a nice little rally here since the beginning of November. 64 cents up to $1.80, not too bad. And if crypto keeps rallying, you could see stocks like backed holdings continue to rally. Also, obviously, the crypto miners, Mara and such, I would expect them to get a little bit of love. Yep. What I've always said about these is I prefer to hold the crypto asset because I don't like being weighed down by all the costs of these companies. However, from watching the charts and looking at the price swings on these, typically what we see is that if you're brave enough to buy one of these down on the dips, you'll get a higher return on a stock tracking crypto like a Mara or a backed holdings than holding the crypto asset itself. So nice run on Mara also. 7 and change up to 1370. For those that are looking for a new TV, Barry says the only new TVs I've seen that were good are the Jensens being used in new RVs. Huh. I tend to buy Samsung, Barry, Samsung TV products, and I've had good luck with those. I don't know that it's the best, but usually look for them on sale. Someone's asking about the Sugar Bowl. We got the Longhorns versus the Huskies on January 1st. I don't know if they can win or not, but I'm always going to pull for the Longhorns. So very disappointing game this weekend against OSU or Oklahoma, sorry. Longhorns narrowly losing. Broke Ape says, why would investors buy up Uber with the wages news that came out? I haven't seen the news on Uber. I'm not a fan of the company in general because of, I think they exploit drivers. But hell of a run. $19 to $57. Holy shit. I missed out on that one. Let's, that was $19 a year and a half ago. Let's see what they fixed. They're continuing to grow top line revenue. Net income went from massive losses to profitable, so that kind of explains why the stock is going up. Balance sheet, they have $7.5 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Current assets versus current liabilities is okay. They do have a pretty healthy amount of long-term debt, $10.8 billion. Positive shareholders' equity and positive operating cash flow. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to see there why the stock is rallying. I'm just not a fan of the exploitation that the company does on drivers. Company's doing good, drivers are getting obliterated. Unless something changed. Someone's asking me to look at backed holdings for the most recent quarter. Wow, that's a big step up in revenue. I haven't been following their quarterly announcements. I don't know, don't remember how long ago I sold it, but it was back here where they weren't really performing. They bumped from 12 million to 347 million, 200 million. Operating income still negative. Net income is still negative. Shares outstanding is okay. They're not really diluting. Quick look at the balance sheet. Working capital is okay. Not really any long-term debt. Positive shareholders' equity. Yeah, I mean, they're on the cusp. I'd like to see them turn a profit on these higher revenues. They're still losing money on operating income. So if they can fix that, you could see this thing really take off. Okay, Broke Ape. In New York City, the Uber drivers won the wage dispute. I'll check that headline. Man, I'm kind of pissed that I missed that run up. I haven't been paying attention to Uber because it was in that this long ass free fall. They've regained just about all of it. Well, can't watch everything, and nobody's been asking about it, so haven't been paying attention. Did I pull up the wrong score on UT? Oh, I did. Sorry, I was looking at an old score, 49-21. Mea culpa. Well, I'm glad I didn't send my son the text I was going to send this weekend, because that would have been embarrassing. 49-21. Yeah, we did kill him. I didn't watch the game. I just pulled it up after, and apparently I pulled up the wrong result. Someone's asking, when is Palantir's next chance to get in the S&P? I don't know. I'll have to look that up and see if I can get back to you on that. Why is AMC undervalued, June? The issue that AMC is struggling with, June, is their financial statements. Hang on one second. So here we have my little dashboard. I know a lot of people are telling you a lot of fantastic things. The company's not losing money. The company's profitable. I just look at the balance sheet and the income statement and the cash flow statement and the cash balance and the working capital. That's a lot of buzzwords. I get it, but they're things that matter to Wall Street. And so at a high level, if you just want a picture of how AMC is doing, you compare it to something like a Costco, which is all green. When we fill in these boxes for AMC, we still have a lot of red and yellow flags. So the company's not profitable. They have a negative return on equity. They have a negative debt to equity ratio. That's because the shareholders' equity on the financial statements is negative. And they have a working capital that has a deficit. So these are things that the company management is working to fix. These are reasons why the company is raising cash. We look at the balance sheet here. You can see shareholders' equity is negative $2 billion. Make sure, yeah, we're on the last quarter. Negative $2 billion. And then the other thing that Wall Street is looking at is total current assets, 980 million. Let me make this a little bigger for you. Versus total current liabilities, 1.5 billion. You don't want to see this number bigger than this one. That means they're 600 million short in cash to pay their bills over the next 12 months. That is why the company's raising cash. That's why they're diluting. This right here, the balance sheet. And anyone who's telling you that the company's profitable, they're fine, they don't need to raise money, ask them to explain working capital to you. And they won't be able to because they don't look at the financial statements. There are a few good YouTubers and people on Twitter that look at this stuff, and I think that they would tell you the truth. But most of the people that are just complaining about management and what they're doing have never looked at the balance sheet and could not explain working capital to you. The other thing that AMC has that they are worried about is the long-term debt, which is not 8.7 billion. This includes the lease liabilities. It's under 5 billion, 4.8, 4.7 of actual debt. And that will be coming due, the bulk of it, in 2026. And I think that the company will probably refinance that and push it out another 5 years. So Not too worried about that. But the working capital, they need to get a handle on. This becomes a problem, working capital, when you're booking negative quarters. So in Q1, AMC had negative 189 million on operating cash flow. In Q2, they had negative 13 million. And in Q3, they have positive 65 million. In Q4, I think it will be back to probably negative 100 to 200 million based on the current box office. I'm expecting that the company will lose money and burn cash in Q4. So that's what they're struggling with. It's just numbers. No emotions, just numbers. William says, Backed Holdings is run by BlackRock. Well, I would say if they're backing it, it might have a good potential. Gus says GameStop might address the huge GameStop meetup in New York City at earnings. I'd be happy, Gus, if they address anything, honestly. All right, so we went over the gold chart. We went over the crypto charts. We went over Evergrande. We talked about GameStop. I'll be live streaming it on the 6th. Oh, actor strike. I want to talk about the actor strike real quick before we close up the live stream. So there was a tentative agreement between the studios and actors in November, which was then approved by the SAG-AFTRA committee that was overseeing the negotiations, and then it went out to a vote to all SAG-AFTRA members, and the final vote for yes or no on the actors strike will be end of the day on the 5th, Tuesday. So I know a lot of you think that the actors strike is over, it's approved, it's done. Not quite, we're almost all the way there. It is expected to pass, not with an overwhelming majority, but I'm holding off commenting too much on the movie industry until I know for sure on Tuesday that the SAG-AFTRA members approve the agreement. So stay tuned on that, and let's cross our fingers that that gets done, and then we can maybe get some updates on the 2024 movie calendar. Lockheed says the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket. I don't disagree with you, my friend. Could be a spicy week. Could be a spicy month of December. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Get up early and check the pre-market. Check that Bitcoin. Check gold. Check your favorite stocks. I'll be around for those of you that are members of the channel. Discord is free for anybody supporting the channel. Hit that join button on YouTube from a desktop or Patreon, and you get free access to the Discord, which is where I'm at when I'm not live here. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you on the next one.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. I'm coming for the